Okay, I'm back, and so now we have discussed hydrocarbons and coal, which is used currently for our energy sources, the vast majority of them. But now we want to talk about alternate sources of energy and how they work. So first we've got nuclear energy, and there's two different kinds of nuclear energy, nuclear fission and then nuclear fusion. So you need to be familiar with both ways. So nuclear fission is going to be when you start with a large nucleus, such as uranium, and then it breaks apart into two smaller nucleuses, nuclei, and then it also releases energy. So this is nuclear fission. And you should have an understanding of where uranium comes from. So uranium originally comes from igneous rocks, but then as those igneous rocks get weathered, they turn into sedimentary rocks, and then we can mine the sedimentary rocks and break them down to extract the uranium from them. Okay, I would not worry about nuclear power plants on the exam. And you should also don't worry about the United States nuclear power plants. Okay, this chart here, if you were given this chart on the exam, then you should be able to read this chart and understand what it's trying to say. Okay, some other sources of energy, hydroelectric. So be able to tell me, how does a hydroelectric dam work? Okay, then you've got biofuels, which is the process of taking organic material and liquefying it and turning it into some kind of fuel source. Okay, then you've got wind energy and you've got solar energy. Okay, and then you've got geothermal energy. Now, I would not worry about the tidal energy. Okay, don't worry about that on the exam. And then similarly, don't worry about the ocean waves as a mechanism for generating energy. But nuclear fusion, yes. So the idea of taking two small nucleuses like hydrogen and smashing them together, and then that releases energy when it turns into helium. So this one is very important because just recently they think that they are on the right track to having nuclear fusion power plants. And that really will revolutionize our way of life if that ever is done. Okay, this is very important. All right, so these charts show the different types of energy. What are their pros? So what's the good thing about each of these different types of energy, and then what's the bad thing about each of these different kinds of energy? So you should know this information for the exam. Okay, now let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about mineral resources.